the Yom HaMamash about Lag Baomer, just getting ready, organizing. Lag Baomer, what's permitted, what's not permitted, when it's permitted. So you know that there's machloket minhagim between the Shulchan Aruch and the Rema in Siman Taf Tzadik Gimel. The Rema says that the minhag is to take a haircut on Lamed Gimel, and the Shulchan Aruch says on Lamed Daled. Why is that? Why is there machloket? There's machloket, first of all, based on the Gemara in Yevamot, Samech Bet Amud Bet. The Gemara says over there that מפסח ועד עצרת 12,000 תלמידים, זוגות תלמידים היו לו לרבי עקיבא, ומתו מפסח, מתו בפרק אחד. They died within one period. The Gemara later on says that it's מפסח ועד עצרת. That is the time that they died. How did they die? באסקרה, מיתה רעה, says the Gemara. Askera, which means they were choked. It was a death of choking. Why is that? The Gemara says over there, מפני שלא נהגו כבוד זה בזה. Now, if that is the case, why we stop? If it's מפסח ועד עצרת, עצרת means שבועות. Why we stop in Lag Baomer, Lamed Daled Baomer? Why is that? The Bet Yosef brings over there in Taf Tzadik Gimel that the Midrash says that it's ad pros עצרת, not ad עצרת, מפסח ועד פרוס עצרת. What does it mean פרוס? Pros means half. Pus, like pusa. Pusa means you take one slice. It means you cut the bread. Pras. Pras also. כדי אכילת פרס. Pras means half. So, therefore, half of what? Half of what? He brings over there that we find pras Pesach, pras on other places. That means half of a month. 15. How much is half of a month? Half of 30? That means 15. So if you take off 49, Shavuot is already on the 50th. So we're not counting Shavuot, it starts 49. 49, you deduct 15, you end up with 34. 34. So therefore, we keep the Avelut until the 34th day. The 34th day doesn't have to be the whole entire day, because there's a concept called מקצת היום ככולו. That's a concept in Avelut, לא עלינו ולא עליכם. The מקצת היום ככולו. In the morning already, although it's the 7th day of the Avelut, the Avel can get up. Same thing over here, 34th day in the morning, that's done. Where does the Lag Baomer 33 comes? So the Mishnah Berurah explains that they argued when were they dying until what day? According to their understanding, Ashkenazim understanding, according to the Rama, they stopped dying on 33. According to Shulchan Aruch, the majority of the people stopped dying on the 33. There was a little bit more that died on the 34th, on Lamed Daled Baomer. That's the way it is. That's the way we organize over here the Shitot. The only problem is that on Lag Baomer, we still noeg avelut, we don't shave, we don't take a haircut, but we listen to music. How is that possible? How is that possible? So I understand, it's a simcha of Rav Shimon Bar Yochai, but if you're happy on one thing and you're sad on the other, it's like Tarta de Satre. What are you doing? You're in avelut or you're in a party? What is this? So the Pri Chadash says that goes according to the minhagim. That became the minhag because of Rav Shimon Bar Yochai was very makpid that people should be happy on his day. Very makpid. There was a chacham, one chacham in the time of the Arizal that was noheg minhag avelut on that day as well. Throughout the whole year, it was noheg minhag avelut because of the Chorban the whole year, and he was noheg minhag avelut also on Lag Baomer. And he was punished because Rav Shimon Bar Yochai was very makpid on that. Rav Shimon Bar Yochai wants everybody to be happy on that day. And that's what Rav Yitzchak Yosef brings, that it became the minhag to listen to music not only for the celebration, for the purpose of the celebration of Lag Baomer. Once I goes to a bonfire and listens to music over there, okay, maybe that's included. But if you want to open and listen to another singer, sing songs that have no shayachut to Lag Baomer, or in your car, you're driving, nothing to do. Can you do that? So Rav Yitzchak Yosef says that became the minhag. Some are very machmir not to. The machmir only on that day and not afterwards because it's still avelut, but that became the minhag. To listen to music on Lag Baomer and Sfaradim to wait until Lamed Daled in the morning to take a haircut. What about shaving? Shaving, you just need to know generally that the minhag of shaving is very new. It was not really the minhag in the old countries. In Syria, did they shave? Shave. Did they shave? Rav Yitzchak Schreiber from Schreiber. Yes, from Argentina. He writes that the minhag in Syria was to shave. Everybody shaved. And the minhag of Syria also went through to the other countries as well. See, all Lebanese came from Syria, right? My parents are Lebanese, but really a generation before they came from Syria. They speak the way Syrians speak, not the way Hezbollah. I always laugh at them that the food and everything is Hezbollah. What is this? That's what they do. But that's the way it was. So in Lebanon, in Egypt, for instance, in Mitzrayim, there's a sefer Minhagei Mitzrayim. He brings down that in Egypt also everybody shaved. In Teiman, even the Teimanim, you see them with beards and peot. But the Marit says that also the minhag was to shave. And this is how, I asked Persians, what did they do in the old countries? Everybody shaved. Even in Ashkenaz, even the yeshivot, they used to shave every Erev Shabbat. Shave. So why? Because the minhag was not to take a haircut. The shaving was not included. Where was that started to become more of a minhag? It started, you see it first in Rabbi Uziel, the Rishon LeZion. And then you see it in the Yaskil Avdi, Rav Ovadia Adaya. He brings down not to shave as well, and also Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach brings not to shave as well, and the Or LeZion brings like that. But it's a pretty new thing. Rav Ophir Malka Shlita, when he speaks about shaving, he mentioned that in the Levaya of Rav Ben Zion Abba Shaul, one of the Maspidim was Rav Cohen, Rav Shalom Cohen, Rosh Moetzet Gdolei HaTorah, and he was Maspid. The Or LeZion, he said that when he was young, he learned in Yeshivat Porat Yosef, Rav Ben Zion Abba Shaul, and he was Maspid, he was Meshabeach him that in the Omer he didn't shave. It was like unique, it was like something that was not common. Others all shaved, and he was like, he stood out that in the Omer he didn't shave. So today became more of the minhag, but we need to realize that it's like something that's pretty much new. So therefore, on Lamed Daled Baomer, a person could take a haircut and shave, and from then, unless you keep the minhagim according to the Mekubalim. Mekubalim, the Arizal says the Arizal didn't shave until Shavuot, Erev Shavuot. For Erev Shavuot you have to shave. You can't come to Shavuot Ba'avelut, to the Chag Ba'avelut, but he didn't shave until why? Why is that? Because the Minchat Elazar Munkach brings that until Shavuot it's time of dinim, according to Kabbalah. And therefore you don't want to agitate them. When you cut hair is also dinim. That's why, for instance, there are those poskim that write not to take haircuts at night. At night is time of dinim, and therefore you shouldn't take haircuts at night. Minchat Elazar rejects that. He says that's not the minhag, and Chacham Ovadia also brings few poskim that even according to the Arizal Machloket, what did the Arizal really hold? Did he hold that at night you can't shave, you can't take a haircut? Because haircut, again, at night is time of dinim, and hair is also dinim, you're agitating the dinim. Same thing would be Lemaise. Haircut Chacham Ovadia and many others say that at night you could take, and the Arizal never said such a thing, or never meant such a thing. But definitely, until Shavuot is time of dinim, and therefore one should not, those that go according to Kabbalah, should not take a haircut until then. Some are only taken on Lag Baomer or Lamed Daled Baomer, and then they stop until Shavuot. But our minhag, the minhag roveach, is to take a haircut, no issue. Now, question that Bri Chadash asked, very interesting question. He says that the Talmidim of Rabbi Akiva died. So we make according to Pshat, the Shulchan Aruch, what he writes, that on Lamed Gimel, or Lamed Dalet, Pasku, Milamud, and then you make a Simcha. So Simcha Mazu Osa. The Bri Chadash asks over there, in Seif Katan Bet, if all the Talmidim died, so what do you want? Nobody left. What are you making the party for? There's nobody left. You make a party, like for instance, Metei Midbar, we make, לא היו ימים טובים לישראל כט"ו באב. ט"ו באב ויום הכיפורים. ט"ו באב, why? There's few שיטות in the Gemara, in Chagiga, in Ta'anit, and the Gemara says, and one of the reasons the Gemara says over there is that it's Yom shepasku bo milamut Metei Midbar. The Metei Midbar stopped dying on that day. So that's very good because there's people left. So it's a reason for celebration. They were supposed to die. And that's it. The plague that happened every single year stopped. Wonderful. But over here, everybody died. What do you want? What's the simcha? So Pri Chadash says that really there's 5 Talmidim that were left, right? Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Elazar, and Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. That Rabbi Akiva was giving them, he was masmich, those Talmidim, and they gave the Torah over to Klal Israel. And that is the simcha. The simcha is that the whole Torah was given over by the last Talmidim that were left. Imagine for another day, another 2 days, it could have been very dangerous. You could have lost the entire Torah. Therefore, it's a reason to have a simcha, that you still have those Talmidim. But that is according to Pshat. According to Kabbalah, we explained that the simcha is the simcha of Rav Shimon Bar Yochai. What happened with Rav Shimon Bar Yochai? On that day of Lag Baomer, Rav Shimon Bar Yochai had permission to reveal the secrets of the Torah. All the secrets of the Torah that we know today, and many, we follow them on daily basis. Many things that we know. We don't even pay attention. We don't even know that many of the things that we do is according to Kabbalah. That our tefillah is based almost entirely according to the Kabbalah. And therefore, that's a reason to have simcha, that the sodot of the Torah were given by Rav Shimon Bar Yochai on that day. It was permitted to be given over to Klal Yisrael. They were written in the Zohar, and that is the reason, according to the Mekubalim, according to Kabbalah aspect, to celebrate the Lag Baomer. It's not because of the Avelut, and that is really a machloket you need to know. Sometimes you hear that there's Avelut until Lag Baomer. Sometimes you learn that it's Dinim. The Minchat Elazar that I mentioned before, he has a question: can you go to vacation in this time of year? Can you go to vacation? Maybe if it's time of Avelut, you shouldn't go to vacation. You're growing a beard, you're growing a hair, you're not listening to music, and you're going to Florida to sit by the pool and enjoy the weather. Can you do that? He says for sure, 100%, no question that it's mutar. He proves it from different places. Like for instance, that Am Yisrael were walking from Pesach until Shavuot. They were walking on the road, Aliyah Laregel, and other places as well. He says it's pashut. Why? Because it's not, he rejects the avelut. He says it's dinim. The Gemara says it's avelut. He says like this. He says that that wasn't a reason for them to die. It wasn't enough of a reason. It doesn't say in the Torah that if you're not respecting one the other, that you should die. But rather, it's time of dinim. If they would do it in any other time of the year, they would not die. But since it's a sensitive time, it's a time that dinim metuchim alehem, therefore it's a time that is dangerous, and that's the reason that they died. So, according to that, he says one that wants to go to vacation, no question about it, that is permitted. We did a little bit organizing. Tomorrow we'll expand a little bit more. Thank you.